So morning to you, Michael, and good evening to you, Gopal and Fenil, and of course, all the panelists sitting here on the screen. Good to see you all.
Same here.
Thank you, sir.
Same here.
Thank you. So this is going in the live as well. Great.
Session, sir.
Just wait for a minute.
Okay, sir.
Sabhi, I think we can start now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sabiha. I'm the Business Development Manager with VG Learnings. I would like to start this session by welcoming all our participants and our distinguished speakers today. VG Learning is conducting this webinar in association with IMA and Becker Professionals, and we will be discussing everything about the US Certified Management Accounting. We would be trying to cover the topics of the certification, the importance worldwide, and above all, the growth of management accounting. It's an honor for me to introduce my speakers for this evening. I have Mr. Gupta, who is a well-known chartered accountant, also known as a tax guru in India. He has been a mentor to many aspiring chartered accountants, and he's also the managing director of VG Learnings. With him, we have Mr. Fenil Vadipan, who is the country manager of partner relations IMA. IMA is the governing body for the program, and Fenil will be taking care of giving us all the details and the importance of IMA today. We have invited two very special guests for this session, Mr. Sunil Deshmukh, who is a qualified CMA and a CS. He's a C-suite executive and an IMA Global Board Director. With him, we have Mr. Gopal Rastogi, and he is a qualified chartered accountant and a qualified CMA, and holds the position of a business finance controller in Sterlite Technology. Last but not the least, I have Mr. Michael Brown, who is a qualified US CPA and a CMA, and a senior lead instructor with Becker Professionals. So a warm welcome to all the speakers and the panelists again once from me. And before we start the session, I would just request all the participants to attend the session till the end. And you can post your queries in the chat box, which we will try to cover as many as possible in the last 15 to 30 minutes of this webinar. So let's begin with the session, and I'll hand it over to Mr. Gupta.
Thank you, Sabia. So good evening, everyone, and my special thanks to Mr. Gopal Rastogi, Mr. Sunil Deshmukh, Mr. Michael Brown, and Fennel. So let me put on record my appreciation for Fennel, who has been instrumental in organizing this seminar. So thank you, Fennel, once again. So VG Learning Destination was earlier known as Vinod Gupta Classes. And VG Learning, along with 88 Academics, which is a subsidiary of a Singapore company, is in the field of education for the last 33 years. And we have taught more than 300,000, that is 3 lakh students all over India. And about from that, around 1 lakh have qualified as chartered accountants. So we at VG Learning believe at high quality education, the student progression, and ensure that the student should pass the exam for which they are enrolling with us. So friends, I will not be a wall between the great eminent speakers for the today evening. And let me guarantee you one thing, that this program, Cma, we guarantee you 100% placement. After you have the certification, you have a lot of job opportunities in India and abroad. And the starting salary, whatever is the starting salary, I think my speakers will be discussing about that. And let me also tell you that we have the best content provider, that is Backers. And Michael will be briefing you about the content, how is it distinguished from the other contents. And without taking much of your time, I'll request Fennel to tell you the advantages of pursuing this course in terms of, the concessions which are provided to the students in case you come to VG Learn. Over to Fennel, please.
Thank you, Vinodji, and it is a great pleasure to be part of VG Learning Destination. And I think it's our first webinar, and I'm sure this kind of sessions will be happening now almost every month. That's what we are looking at. And we see great support from VG Learning for helping our candidates to pass the CMA exams. So before me going into the IMA presentation, what I thought about, it's a great opportunity for getting Sunil and Gopal as part of this webinar. And we'll talk about few current scenarios in the field of future of finance. And we'll ask few questions to Sunil and Gopal to get their views. So that will be a great roadmap towards IMA and CMA certification. So thank you, Sabia, for introducing Sunil and Gopal. Just an additional few words. Sunil Deshmukh is an C-suite executive with global experience. His career spanning 3 decades in the leadership positions with leading global entities. Sunil is a certified management accountant and a fellow member of Institute of Secretaries of India. Sunil is also an associate certified coach by International Coaching Federation USA. He served as mentor, director, and even the global board IMA member. Gopal is a chartered accountant and certified management accountant. He's an experienced finance professional, worked with Airtel for a decade, worked with electronic data systems, and currently business financial controller at Sterlite Technologies Limited. And he brings a lot of experience and passion towards finance industry. So these are our 2 big industry speakers for the day. So I have few questions for you, Sunil and Gopal. Technology is disrupting every single sector and industry around the planet, thus affirming transformation as the only way through. While this is presenting major challenges for the finance and accounting profession, it is also bringing forth unprecedented opportunities. In your opinion, what will be the future of finance and the role of management accountants in this digital era? Sunil or Gopal, anyone can.
Thanks. Good evening. Thank you, Fennel and Gopal. I hope you're okay if I take it first.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So Thank you, Fenil, and thank you, everybody. Thank you, Vinodji, and thank you, Sabiha, for giving a great introduction. So, finance profession or management accounting profession is obviously going through a transformation. And as we say, change is the only constant thing in the world, right? And we have to be able to change or transform ourselves with the time. We all know we are all living in a VUCA world, which is, volatile, uncertain, complicated, and ambiguous. COVID-19 has added another tangent to that, and now Ukraine war has added another tangent to that. And we all have to live in this volatile world. And of course, the management accountants need to survive in this world, right? And there's a nice saying which says that you can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf, right? And that's what we are doing, and we all need to do. Now, coming to the technological changes happening in the world and impact on management accounting profession, you all know that industry 1.0, industry, today we are in industry 4.0. And all this started somewhere in 1784, and now today we are in 2022. What I'm trying to say is the transformation on technological world is happening so fast that management accounting profession cannot be kept behind or cannot remain behind. So what is going to happen in future is the technology is going to drive the world. And be it management accounting profession or be it a lawyer's profession, be it an architect, any profession, technology will drive the world. And what we need to do as a management accountants, we need to be able to be aware. First is we need to be aware of what's happening around us. And that's where I call the emotional intelligence aspect, like what's happening within you and what's happening around you. That's being aware, or that's being emotional intelligence. Second part is you need to predict what's likely to happen. And that's where I call the corporate sense making or a sense making. What is going to change in my profession? Am I, for example, tomorrow management accountant need to understand the data analysis or data analytics. Am I prepared to handle the data analysis or data analytics? So that's the prediction, or that's the way you think future is likely to change. And third and most important is, are we adaptable to the change? Am I changing? Am I flexible enough to change to the future requirements? And if yes, am I working on that? So three mantras or three main important things according to me: be aware of what's happening, be able to predict what's likely to happen, and be adaptable to the future. And technology is definitely going to drive the world. A management accountant needs to have his or her abilities or his or her skills to be wider enough and deeper enough. It's not only now the functional expertise, it's also your ability to go across the boundaries. And at some point of time, I will come to the discussion of IMA's framework and all those things, but I think I will wait here, I'll stop here and give an opportunity to my friend Gopal. He's a young man, he can add a lot of fresh ideas to this. Gopal, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Sunil. And thank you for having me in. And before the begin, I'm very much excited to be part of the panel. So I agree with Sunil. So a lot of transformation changes is being brought in because of the rapidly changing technologies. And this is where we need to focus. So what I see is the changes which is brought in by the technology, like earlier, the management accountant, they were focusing more on bookkeeping, manual transactions processing. Now, those jobs are taken care by the bots, RPAs, and the automated technologies. So automated technologies are now processing a lot of transactions. So this is where we need to move up the value chain. This is where, and as Sunil has rightly mentioned, the focus should be more on the right real-time analysis. Focus should be more on the predictive analysis and bringing the value creation side, which is what is aligned with the business. So as a management professional, we need to be very much aligned with the business, understand where the business is moving, and then using the data analytics and using the learnings which we had got from various factors, converted that into value creation for the business. So this is what I feel should be.
Thank you, Gopal. And maybe the next question also I'll ask directly to Gopal first. We have always referred to management accountants as value creators. This remains a fundamental aspect of the work they do anywhere in the world and no matter the industry they represent. How can industry professionals maintain that essential role, basically, what are some of the skills that you think they will need to add, sharpen, or improve in order to compete in today's ever-changing job market?
Sure, sure. So I would say, I mean, this is wonderful question, and I'm glad to share my opinion on this. So what I see is now, as we moving along, finance is becoming the core of the business, and which is what is the finally the final connect between the stakeholders and the business, and this is where the focus is. So if I talk about, say, business as a aeroplane, and the CEO is driving as a pilot, then finance plays the role of co-pilot, taking care of fuel consumption, taking care of what are the different constraints we have, different resources we have, knowing where the destination is, knowing how long it will take to reach that destination, and understanding of all those constraints, and focusing more on the value creation. And this is where the finance would be playing a leading role, working very closely with the business leaders and converting that information into value-added analytics, so that drive the actions on the ground and ultimately impacting the key focus area, which is what is ultimately resulting into revenue, EBITDA margin, and finally the cash. So this is what I feel is the focus area for finance, and finance will continue to be driving force behind that. And this is where I feel that management accountant will continue to focus, and we need to deliver on that.
Thank you, Gopal.
and
Sunil?
Yeah, thanks, Gopal, and thanks, Fenil. Great question, definitely. And at IMA, you all know, being a global director on IMA, I know a lot of inside information, how we work and how we develop the strategy of IMA. But what I was very impressed when I became a CMA member way back, like 15 years ago, and all those things is IMA has got a management accounting framework. And this framework identifies 6 domains under which a management accountant needs to develop his or her skills. And this is one of the best piece of work I have ever seen in any other financial professional management accounting or any other professional qualification. The skills a good management accountant need to develop over the 6 domains or 6 areas, I just reiterate those. First is very important is that a management accountant needs to be a visionary as far as the strategic planning and performance process of a company is concerned. So that's the one aspect, strategic planning and performance. Second is reporting and control. One of the most important aspect of a job of a management accountant is reporting and control. So in a reporting and control domain, a management accountant needs to be a steward. He should take this forward. He should convince his management. Third aspect, which is very, very relevant in today's area, is the technology and analytics, which is where we are all talking today. And a role of a management accountant, or the skills as a catalyst between the corporate world and the finance world and the manufacturing supply chain. So management accountant has to develop the skills as a catalyst on the technological and analytics world. Another aspect, or fourth aspect, is business acumen and operations, right? A management accountant is a partner in all business decisions, be they strategic decisions, revenue decisions, capital decisions, be it cost benefit analysis, make or buy decisions, outsource or insource decisions. So that's another aspect. And most important is, as far as professional ethics and values are concerned, a management accountant needs to develop his skills, his or her skills, as a guide to the management. And the cherry on the cake is a management accountant needs to be a leadership champion. He needs to lead all these domains along with the corporate world and take it forward. So these are the 6 basic skills, which very nicely defined. You can go on IMA website, download our management accounting framework, and it's beautiful. And please try to have a detailed analysis of it. Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, Sunil. Vinod or Michael, do you have anything you want to add on to this?
See, today's word statutory audit is an audit after the transactions happen. Internal audit is again on the ongoing processes which are there. But as far as management accountant is concerned, as Gopal rightly said that the management accountant is a co-pilot today with the CEO. So I think the management accountant has a different role today. And since a lot of multinationals are coming into India, their emphasis will be on the management accountant only. Because like stat audit, internal audit, they are commenting on the past transactions. Whereas the management accounting is talking about the transactions which are about to happen. So I think management accountant is a great role today, and I think Michael will supplement this.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch how management accounting has and continues to evolve. I think the role of, I love the analogy of a co-pilot. To me, that's right at the heart of the idea of a value added function. And by evolving to incorporate technology and the disruptive effects that it has, and the importance of analytics and so many other fields, the role of the management accountant remains current, but because businesses very easily lock on to, hey, these are critical things we need to be doing, who around here can help us do that? And they naturally go to the management account. They say, well, I know you're up to date on this stuff. I've seen the work the IMA is doing in this area. I know that you've been working in this area, so I'm going to lean on you. And that's really that trust that gets built is in part because management accounting as a profession has and historically has done a great job and continues to do a great job of evolving with the profession.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you everyone for your views. And we talked about the major challenges or changes impacting the profession. And it's great to hear about the tremendous value that profession continues to create. But in the face of ongoing changes unfolding around us in the business and in life, to what extent do you think professional certification in management accounting field can provide professionals with an edge in the today's job market? Would love to hear this from your experience in your organization, especially on how CMAs make an impact. And I'm sure Gopal, being a chartered accountant and certified management accountant, is into business finance. I'm sure your inputs and Sunil's input from his experience in mentoring, directing, and supporting the organization, your inputs will be a valid one. So like to hear from you.
Sure. Thank you, Fenil. So as I would say, IMA has set up a very beautiful syllabus, which is very up to date and very much connected with the business world. And this is what prepares any student or any professional into the business or corporate life. So it's very much connected. What are the different skill set that is required for understanding the business? What are the different skill set that is required for running the business, and providing the right set of information and providing the right set of data for value creation is what is the captured in the rightly in the IMA syllabus. So this is what I feel is the right set or the stepping stone for the any student or any professional. Apart from that, I would say what the other additionals or what are the I would say the cherries on the why anyone should do any professional course or especially CMA, because CMA is one of the most recognized brand all over the world. Once you are a CMA, you can go and talk about your CMA journey any part of the world. People will recognize you, people will respect you, because this is one of the most powerful brand. So this is what I feel is required, and anyone who is willing to pursue any professional, they should think about CMA. And it's really, it's part of the journey where you would expose to a lot of business analytics, you will expose to setting up the right strategy, how various value streams are important, and how that is ultimately connected to the stakeholders. And so this is what is the journey of value creation for the stakeholders. So this is what I feel. Thank you, and over to you, Sunil.
Gopal, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
You are a chartered accountant as well as CMA.
Yes.
So you hold a dual degree. So what will your advice be to the chartered accountants? I mean, how does it make an impact if you hold a dual degree like chartered accountant as well as CMA?
Yeah, so definitely. So what my advice to anyone who is already a qualified chartered accountant, why they should go for another degree? One is that, okay, we are now living in a world where companies are globalized, operations are globalized. So we are interconnected world where one impact, like Sunil has mentioned, there is a COVID which has impacted the entire world. There is a Ukraine war which has impacted the entire world. impacting by the, say, fuel prices, impacting by the supply chain constraint. So we are living in a globalized world. Understanding how these global economies are impacting any company would essentially be part of this. And this is what I would say, having a dual qualification or having a multiple or internationally recognized qualification will help you. One is to understand how the entire ecosystem is impacting, and the second is you would be very much more connected and understanding about the business, because CA is one which is more towards the finance and towards the auditing and other, and for CMA it is more connected with the management accounting, where you are part of the business, understanding the driving and defining the strategy and creating the value for stakeholders. So I would say this is how it is benefiting to everyone. Hope this clarifies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sunil, you are also both qualified, so you can also give your inputs. And I always say it's the right combination again. Like you need to have skill sets from different areas that help you to grow much faster in a corporate, as well as to consult or support business in decision making. So Sunil, over to you the same question.
Yeah, no, yeah. See, what I'm thinking is that when any student goes into a university or undergrad degree or college, they always have a first question whether I should do an undergrad degree or I should do a professional degree, right? That's how it all starts. In India, we call it 10+2, or Michael, in Europe it's called A levels or whatever you say. But basically, when you come out of your junior college or college school, and then you want to get into a degree, there are options like Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science. Those are generic degrees. They only give you a certification that you know something, right? But they are not the professional degrees. So if you want to really apply your knowledge in a job or in a profession, then you need a professional degree. The beauty of IMA or CMA qualification is that you can do CMA while doing your undergrad degree. When I was doing my BCom or Bachelor of Commerce, I never had that option. So I have to wait till I complete my BCom. Then I did Indian Cost and Management Accounting. Then I did Indian Company Secretary. Then I did law, whatever. But what I'm trying today, at the age of 21 or 22, a young boy or girl may have a dual qualification, Bachelor of Commerce and a CMA. And beauty of CMA program is it's only 2 examinations. And I know the syllabus, obviously, and we all know. It's very, if you're focused, you can clear the examinations, all the entire program within 1 and 1.5 years. And you have got an international passport. Very sorry to use the word passport, but it's an international degree which recognizes you. So that's, according to me, a professional degree gives you that edge, or it's a first mover's advantage. When I first went abroad, I used to work as a CFO of Foster's, the Australian India company in India, and I left that company and went abroad. What I realized that my Indian qualification as a company secretary or cost and management accountant had no value there. So that I got that feeling first time when I went to work abroad. So I decided at that point of time that I need to have an international qualification. And obviously, eventually I got a CMA and some other qualification. So according to me, young students should think of this. And like rightly said by Gopal, today is a global world, right? Every single company has got operations in India, America, Japan, everywhere. And you are anyway working, you are connected globally 24/7 online, real time. So your understanding of knowledge, sharing of knowledge, if your international qualification, you can very quickly adapt to that. And that's a great advantage. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil and
Fennel,
Gopal.
can I
please.
ask a question to you?
Yeah, I'm going to say something related to the same. I hope the same question is going to come back to me.
So, just for my knowledge, I don't have knowledge about it. If I am a US CMA, so is there any MRA between US CMA and Australian CMA, IMA? I mean, if one is having a certification of US CMA,
got it. So I got your question. So IMA works very closely with most of the professional bodies, associations, and all that. But on the same time, there is nothing called reciprocal arrangements with any professional which we signed. So which means anyone, like whether you are a CEO, CFO, or 20-25 years of experience in the field of finance, and want to do CMA, you have to write both part exams and get qualified. And maybe I would also like to add one of your question, which you asked to Gopal on, the skill sets required. So I used to get this question like whether X or Y or CMA, which is the best program? So it's like, whether you like orange, apple, or grapes. So I always say that all the professional certifications are great, but on the same time, a mixture of two different worlds help you to progress in a corporate world and take right decisions in the right time. On the other side, like public accounting or chartered accounting, which is more focused on audit, tax, assurance, compliance, where they do or they get into valuation of the company, whereas management accountants are more into developing, implementing, managing, reporting. They more work as a value creators than a manage, like just looking at what happened. So management accountants are more forward looking professionals. On the same time, a combination of multiple certification add additional value to them. In India, I agree, maybe around the 66% of our candidates are students who are doing undergraduation or post-graduation, and around 33% of them are working professionals, those who are qualified, those who are working in the early stages of their career. Some of them are in the mid-levels, those who are looking at CMA as an additional professional certification for a career jump. So these are some of the things what we have seen, but on the same time, the demand for CMA is increasing in the market, which is rightly based on the future of finance as a topic or the changes happening. There's a lot of disruption happening in the market because of technology, analytics, and robotics. On the same time, management accountants comes with a certain skill set which can help an organization taking a right decision. So that is where I personally feel as CMA as a certification, whether you are accountant or secretary, company secretary, or another professional certified professional, but CMA add, like as I think Sunil mentioned, like add cherry on the top of the cake. So my next question, maybe I think I want to make it very simple. Sunil, how you ended up in CMA and how CMA helped in your career? A very simple question.
It's a great question, and I still remember, like I gave a little bit of reference in my last when I discussed 2 minutes back, that when I first went abroad, I realized that I do not have an international qualification, and this was in South Africa. I used to live in Johannesburg. I came back from Johannesburg without doing any international qualification. I came to India and I joined CFO of McDonald's in India. Okay,
cool.
So, but it was back of my mind that I need to have an international qualification. I need to have. But McDonald's is a pressure cooker job. You don't have time to do anything. You are working 24/7. It's a really tough job. So after working for McDonald's, again, I went abroad and I joined a company, a very large company in Middle East as a finance director. The moment I went that place and joined as a finance director, within 6 months, I completed my CM. Oh. Not 6 months, 1 year, I would say 1 year. And that's where I realized that. And the biggest thing what happened is that within 1 year, means after getting my CMA degree, within 1 year, I became the managing director of that company. So that was the proudest moment I had in my life, that being a finance professional, you transition from a CFO to controller, or controller to CFO, finance director, company secretary, whatever. But I always looked at that the corner office as my place. And I always have a belief that management accountant, finance professionals can become the. So that's where I really got that confidence. I got my international degree, and yeah.
Thank you, Sunil. I think this is something which I always hear from many professionals, say that CMA helped them to do a big career jump. So I think it is true in your case as well. I think Vinod was asking something.
So Sunil, you said you qualified this certification in 6 months. And
yeah, 1 year, I would say.
1 year.
Okay, let's say 1 year. And you were also doing a full-time job with a lot of pressures.
Yeah.
So how did you manage to take out time for study and other things? I mean, it's a
very good.
Yeah, sorry. There are two things I must admit here. That one is, I have been used to doing all these things in past also. Means I did my all dual qualifications, company secretary and Indian CMA and LLB and BCom, all within and MCom within the 5 years while working in the evening. So I know that rhythm. And other thing, to be frank, I must say that there was some understanding between the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and IMA USA. And based on that understanding, I was able to fast forward. So which was there at that point in time. So that was a big advantage.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gopal, over to you, the same question, like how you finally got into CMA, and after being a CMA, how it helped in your personally in your career journey?
Sure, definitely this is a great question. So talking about why I decided to pursue CMA. So I was working for a MNC multinational company which has a global operations, and then I realized that while I am an Indian chartered accountant, I need to have an international recognition, a recognized degree or qualification, and that's what I thought. Okay, I need to have this, and then again, I mean, as many of us or many of the students are professionals, have these questions: which degree is the best or which qualification is the best? So I don't know which is the best or but I decided that okay, CMA is the right qualification for me, and I decided and I pursued and completed it. And how this is helping me is it's not that okay, CMA is only about accountancy or CMA is only about audit. CMA is all about the value stream, the entire value stream, the entire business. So right from the setting up the strategy to the final executed numbers to the final value to the stakeholders, it talks about the entire 360-degree view, and that's what is the beauty. And how I'm able to use my whatever learning and skills I have learned during my CMA time, I'm able to use that in my organizations wherever I'm working. We are now a global organization where we are setting up operations all across the world, dealing with various stakeholders all across the world. So this is how I'm able to implement all the learning which I have from CMA to fast forwarding those decisions, setting up the right strategy, setting up the right thing in the first place. So this is how I would say, I mean, I'm able to apply that.
Thank you, Gopal. Thank you very much for sharing your journey as well. I think like few months back, I actually was meeting another professional who is a management accountant, and he was working for a public limited company. So I asked him, like, you are a chartered accountant again by profession, so why management accounting, like international management accounting certification? So you know what he told me, like, we all do hard work, and being a management accountant, I can put things in the right format, in the right report, and submit to the management, and they are impressed by that. So I'm doing it hard and smart work, and CMA helped me to do a smart work in the board front. I think that's what even, the way like CMA is helping people. This year, we are celebrating 50th CMA anniversary. Being Institute of Management Accounting, we are a membership body. Last 100 years, we are in the market. But when it comes to CMA, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary. And very recently, like few months back, 100,000 CMA certificate holders, or 100,000 people got CMA certification. So what you predict will be some of the biggest trends for the next 50 years of accounting and profession? Sunil or Gopal, anyone?
You want me to answer? Okay. So thank you, Penil. This is a very theoretical question, but I must admit that it's the most difficult question, because nowadays when we do a strategic planning, we don't discuss beyond 5 years. 50 years is too longer a time, right? Michael, you know that nowadays we don't do a long range planning and the budgeting and strategic planning. 3 years is okay, right? 5 years is a stretch. Never for 10 years and 15 years. But theoretically, yes, what I see is you have already said that in February 2022, we have more than 100,000 IMA members worldwide. That's a great achievement. What I'm hoping is that it took, so IMA today is a 100 years old body, right? We have more than 100 years in existence as an Institute of Management. I think next 100,000 will happen so quickly that we will not realize. So that's one thing for sure. But what I'm concerned, even though we are accountants, we believe in numbers and KPIs and percentage growth and all those things. But I believe that quality over quantity. The quality what IMA is offering and is going to offer will be much, much better, much, much different than any other institute. Due respect, all of them are good. All of them are doing fantastic job. But I think we will have an edge over that. And I can vouch that because I sit on IMA's Leadership Academy. I work on IMA's mentoring program. I am on strategic planning committee. So what I'm trying to say, we are thinking of already future. And the ability to quickly change IMA's curriculum within 2 to 3 years, that's a great thing. We have already started remote proctoring, right?
Yep.
That's a great thing for worldwide students to come and appear for examination. And we have IMA Research Foundation, means the continuing education part of IMA is so good and so much different than any other institute. I think that's the quality over quantity. And I must admit here that that's the one area where I just fall in love with IMA.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
beyond. I mean, I represent so many institutes, so many bodies, and I work here, I work there, certified coach, mentor. But what quality of work IMA does, and I'm very happy to say that I am part and parcel of that Leadership Academy. I personally get involved in drafting the new programs. In the month of July, we are coming out, and I'm openly saying that it's a public psychology in leadership decision making, or psychology behind the leadership decision making. That's the new webinar we are coming in July, and I'm going to speak on that. But beauty is we are coming out with such programs which no other institute or no other body will come out. So quality is definitely guaranteed for next 50 years, and that's where we are. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil. Gopal, over to you.
Yeah, so I completely agree with Sunil. And before I talk about 50 years, as Sunil has mentioned, I mean, and now no one is focusing about the next 50 years. But just want to share a quote example. Like, if you talk about top 100 companies in the world, say 50 years back, and we talk about top 100 companies now, only the 10% of the companies remain in the same list. So that means 90% of the companies have been replaced by other companies. So this is what is the beauty. So if we are not able to upgrade ourselves, if we are not able to change ourselves to the realities of the world, we will be redundant, and that's what is the beauty of IMA. IMA keeps on upgrading everyone, and so like we have everyone. I mean, we are doing a continuous improvement program where we are completing our CPAs, which constantly upgrade us to the next level. We understand that okay, how the world is changing, and this is what is the beauty, and this is what I feel would continue to happen in next 50 years. Whatever we are doing may be irrelevant in next 50 years. I can't predict right now that okay, how the next 50 years will look like. Probably it would be autonomous world where the things would be very different what currently we are doing. But what I can suggest and what I can predict is constantly, because of the constant upgrade which is happening for IMA members, we will continue to upgrade ourselves. We will continue to be still relevant in the next futures. So this is what I feel that how it will happen and how management professionals will continue to be relevant in the future.
Thank you, Gopal. I think 2019 February, when we organized a student leadership conference in Bangalore. So we had a panel discussion where the industry delegates were there. So one of the students actually asked the question, say, by completing CMA or by doing CMA, whether my future is in the safe hands, or like, is only good enough? So then one of the speakers said, even we are not sure about what is going to happen for the next 5 years. But the only one thing which is going to happen is change, and you need to adapt to the change. And I think that is what even Sunil and Gopal said. IMA got a vast range of topics which help our members to reskill and upskill. And we have seen many members come back to us and say they actually got benefited out of these webinars, courses, and topics which IMA organized. And we have seen these even from other institutes. People say the IMA actually done a great job in many courses which help our members to grow. So thank you from that perspective. I think the last question which I would like to ask all the professionals in here, like what is your advice to professionals and students who intend to join CMA program?
Yeah, thanks, Vinil. I'll take this. So, advice is, I would say that welcome to CMA. You have taken the first right step in your professional career to be a professionally qualified person, right? So that's welcome. Most important is always remember that when you take an admission into CMA program, completing CMA is one of your important goals, no doubt about that, in time and all this. But IMA chapters all over India, across the world, offer you a lot of other things. Take benefit of that. We have student chapters, we have mentoring program, we have leadership academy programs, we have student conference, we do worldwide young leaders program, we mentors. So what I'm trying to say is that when you have to grow in the life, I always give the theory of three-legged stool, right? One leg of stool is your functional expertise. Second leg of stool is your technology driving that domain knowledge. That you should be good at, which is your data analytics. And third leg is the emotional intelligence part, or the leadership part, or the communication part. Now that is available at IMA. Every IMA chapter in India, in Pune, in Mumbai, in Bangalore, Chennai, we give free mentoring. And we have students who are board members on IMA chapter. They run the chapter. Means I'm not saying only student chapter, but they run the regular chapter. So you have an access to the person, like let's say with 30 years, like Gopal, who is a successful finance person, or there are so many. So you have an opportunity to interact, sit with them on the boardroom or in a dais. So take advantage of that. Don't only remain as a student for passing the examination. And I think this is the last question. I just want to say a few words from a great poem, which I always cherish. The poem is called The Road Less Traveled by Robert Frost. I hope some of you may know, but I'll just read the last 4 lines, which is very apt at this point of time. So the poem goes that, the last stanza of the poem goes that, 2 roads diverge in the yellow woods. 2 roads diverge in the yellow woods. And I chose the one less traveled by. I chose the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So by choosing CMA program, you are making difference to yourself. Please come, join us the 100,000 plus community and have a continuous knowledge available to you for next 50 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunil. Gopal.
So just add on to what Sunil has said. So recently, I just want to quote my personal example. Recently, I had completed a Wharton course on strategy, where this is one of the most prestigious course. So many executives, so many entrepreneurs, they are doing this course to understand much better about the business, how to run business, how to set up strategies, and how to deliver value to the stakeholders. And while doing this course, I realized that this is something which I've already done during my CMA journey. It's not nothing new. I didn't. It's not that okay. I knew something which was not discussed or which was not told during my CMA journey. Everything was related to CMA. So this is what is the beauty of CMA. It's not only that okay, you will become a management professional, you will become an accounting professional, you will become a business professional. You will understand the business in true sense, and if you want to become any entrepreneur or master of your own faith, it readies you for that. And this is what is the beauty, and this is, as Sunil has mentioned, please come and join the 100,000 family members.
Thank you, Gopal, and thank you once again, Sunil and Gopal, for spending your weekend with us. And what I thought about now, I'll just take you all through a quick update about IMA. It's more like a CMA presentation that will help you to understand CMA better. I hope my screen is full, or is it screen mode? Sunil, you're mute.
No, I think you need to go on a presentation mode.
Okay. Right. I think now it should be good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let me switch off this. So IMA as a global body, like Sunil, Gopal, all are part of this body. So we are a professional body who support management accounting, responsible for certified management accountant profession. We are not only into CMA certification. That's what again Sunil and Gopal said about continuous education, which help you to update yourself with the right skill set and knowledge which is required, a platform for networking. We do deep research into areas of finance and management accounting, and we stand as like a role model, like in the field of the ethical practices in business. We are over 140,000 members across the globe with around 150 countries presence, 10 global offices, including one in India, Bangalore, 300 chapters. So Sunil was also talking about chapter, and Sunil was also president of Pune chapter. He was the earlier president of Mumbai chapter. So we do have 8 such chapters in India and globally around 300 chapters. Now people think, what is the need of chapter? Am I right? So chapters are, I would say, extended wings, or they represent IMA, and they support the members in their respective region to upskill, reskill, and opportunity to network. And what Sunil said is right. In one side, you have experienced professionals who are members. On the other side, you have students who doing their graduation and doing CMA. So now it's actually, in a way, it's bridge a gap between industry and students, because you have people around you. You can talk to them. You can get the right guidance from the the senior perspective. From the organization, you can hire youngsters who are skilled from the membership, like when you come for the chapter activities. And supported by our approved provider, VG Learning Destination is our approved provider who support us, our candidates, in progressing in the certification. And Vinod also mentioned about how he is going to support, like, the students who are joining and helping them to move across. So a great work is done by our approved provider. We are not into training, and all this hard work is done by our approved provider. A big hats off to you. We work with many corporates. We call them as corporate supporters. So when we talk about corporates, what they do, some of these companies work with IMA and the research initiatives. Some companies fund for their employees to do CMA certification, and some companies even reach out to us saying that we need fresh CMAs or experienced CMAs. And some of these companies start now regularly approaching us. They found our candidates, even when they get into internships or placement, they're able to grasp and do things much better. I still remember around 3 years back when I usually check in LinkedIn. I see that's a reality. I think I have to be very open. Like, 3 years back, if I look at the opportunities for CMA mentioned in LinkedIn, you might see 2, 3 in a month. Now, every week, if I look at, I see almost 10 to 15 opportunities minimum, which is actually companies ask for CMAs. So in a way, I would say that one side, the technology and the changes, finance transformation happening, which also help to see organization looking at more CMAs. That's one additional side. We work with many universities and colleges. Now, in India, yes, I agree, 66% of our candidates are students or students who are doing undergraduate or postgraduate program. But outside India, you can see almost 85% of our candidates are working professionals. But in India, that's a regular stuff. Like India, people start looking at professional certification, if possible, from 10th standard onwards. But here, I think you need at least a post like 12th standard and a basic knowledge in accounting and finance to start your CMA program. And there is many universities already integrated CMA as part of their curriculum, and they deliver as a part of it. Now, the next question which comes to all is, are you future ready? We are living in the world of technology, analytics, and robotics. And what we have seen last 10 years back, you won't see most of them here. And according to the studies, what they say, every sector is going to get impacted by the Internet of Things and robotics, analytics, and all this. Now, what skill set or how are you going to differentiate yourself? So before that, IMA has also done a research in 2020 with IMA and Deloitte, done a joint research. And as per the joint research, the reports say 27% of companies are going through finance transformation right now. And almost 88% of companies are going through finance transformation in the next 5 years' time. So what it says, some of the jobs, what you see right now, won't be there in the near future. So you need to equip yourself with the right skill sets which is required for the future. I think this is already I spoke. I think I'll talk about the same competency framework which Sunil was mentioning here. Every 5 to 6 years, I may go around the world and ask employees what kind of skill set you are expecting from your employees in the future. And we call this process as job analysis study. And as part of the job analysis study, we come out with IMA Management Accounting Competency Framework. And these are the skill set which industry looking from a finance professional. And these are strategy, planning, performance, reporting, control, business acumen and operation, technology analytics, professional ethics, values, and finally, it is centered with leadership skills. So how management accounting, IMA Management Accounting Competency Framework connected to CMA certification? So you get all these skills as part of your CMA certification and membership benefit. So sometimes people ask like, why we need to pay membership and why we need to be a member to do CMA certification. Because all these skills we provide you through the CMA certification and as a membership benefits. And that is where a lot of webinars, Leadership Academy, which Sunil was mentioning, and a lot of other support systems and courses which we offer. And when it comes to CMA exam, it's two-part exam, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 consists, altogether it consists of 12 core practice areas of management accounting. And these are external financial reporting decisions, planning, budgeting, forecasting, performance management, cost management, internal control. I'm not going in depth. I'm sure Michael will be the right person to give you in-depth knowledge on that. But what I would like to cover here, you might see all these subjects. But say, I studied this as part of my graduation or post-graduation or maybe part of other certification. So why should I do CMA? Now, the way how CMA tests your skills, we say we test you up to level C. So what it means, we test your knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, evaluation, and synthesis. So we are not just stopping your knowledge with your knowledge and comprehension. So you might studied all this, what it is, define it is, but CMA actually go in depth and you should know the concept behind it. You should know the application behind it. So IMA or like the CMA exams are not tested just on the knowledge and comprehension level. Here, that is where your learning pattern need to change. Maybe so far, for example, graduates or postgraduates, what we do, we study all and reproduce everything in the papers. And if you write multiple pages, you get more marks. But here, you are tested on your concepts. You are tested on your application. So what happened? Your learning pattern need to change from by hearting to application style. So I used to say, like, if you have a cousin, nephew, niece at home who's in the age between 3 to 5, just watch them. Tell them this is mouse. They will ask you at least 5 questions about it. So when you learn CMA, ask yourself why I'm learning, where I'm going to apply, and what will be the results. So ask and study in this format. That is where maybe sometimes we see students who are rank holders maybe fail in the first attempt. And whereas the students who score 60 or average students clear CMA much faster. So here it is not about your by-hearting skills, it's all about your application knowledge. From exam point of view, it's two-part exam and bachelor's degree is must. 2 years of relevant experience and active membership to finally qualify yourself as a certified management accountant. But this experience can be after your graduation or before you're starting the CMA program. Whereas what we say, you need bachelor's degree to apply for CMA certification. But on the same time, even if you're a graduate, you're doing graduation, you can still go and write exams. And there are many university students even currently pursuing it. So one side I see like there are a lot of student community preparing themselves at CMA and coming with a fast track route to the corporate world. Whereas even if you're working in the corporate world, you think that CMA is an additional certification, help you to boost your journey or grow, run faster. I think it's the best option for you to choose a CMA. And CMA exams happens around the world. Jan, Feb, May, June, September, October, you can fix your exam window. That's the beauty of another beauty of the certification. And now we start a remote proctoring. So you can write from your own place, but I still personally recommend you going and writing your exams in Prometric centers, because we know we have challenges with internet, we have challenges with power cuts. So I'm sure like Prometric centers will be the best platform for you to go without much tension. You can go and write exams. And we do have two, as I told, two exams. You can write exams in any order. You can go for part 2 or part 1. Ideal time would be say 12 to 18 months to prepare and go and write and clear both part exams. According to the survey IMA done it, 80% of CMAs feels that their certification enhances their ability to move across areas of business. So you, being a management accountant, you are, or certified management accountant, you are not restricting yourself in accounting and finance. You can get into finance, operations, IT, leadership roles, wherever you need to take a right decision. And that is where I would say the role of a management accountant comes in. 34% of people who completed CMA currently work as CFOs, executives, and controllers. 22% of them are directors and managers. 33%, I would say, they are in the early stage of their career, maybe to 3 to 6 years time. They work in financial as financial analysts, business analysts, investment analysts, risk analysts. They work in F&A, FP&A, costing, pricing. Some of the new jobs which I've seen, financial crimes, again, CMAs are getting into. So these are the jobs which you see. So if you really look at, these are the jobs more into reporting side, then you move to decision making or supporting the final decision makers as directors and managers. And 34% of people who completed the certification work as decision makers. As discussed earlier, we certified 100,000 CMAs. Will you be the next one? We are really interested to welcome more CMAs supporting the industry, people, and organization. Some of our testimonials. So as Sunil and Gopal is there, their testimonials are not part of it. So apart from CMA certification, being a member of the institute, so first you need to be a member of Institute of Management Accounting in order to prepare for your CMA. So we provide CMA certification. You are only allowed to do CMA certification if you're an IMA member. Unlike other professional certification, you get your membership after completing everything. Here, you first become the member of the body, then you do the CMA certification. And once you complete your exam and the relevant experience, you get your title Certified Management Accountant. Michael, I think that is a structure which happens in India. That's why I just mentioned it. In US, I think it's a different style altogether. And we do have a lot of free webinars, CPE courses, a wonderful career drive tool called Career Drive, which is a tool which helps you to test your skills and look at what is going to happen in the future and how you can prepare. And you get all these information, where you can get these information, where you can get these skills, also it guide you. So it's a wonderful tool for our members. Ima Leadership Academy, again, provides a lot of opportunity in the different topics, which help you to be a right professional in the industry. There are a lot more with IMA. When students actually join our welcome webinar, we talk in depth about it. But we have a lot of free courses like fundamentals of data analytics and visualization and robot process automation 4 series, Excel skills, and a lot of things which we provide free for our, especially our student members, and you can explore all that. We do many events like student-centric events called Student Leadership Conference, which happens in US and even now in India. And one is a global one is an Indian version, and another one is student case competition, different activities to engage the student community. We do it. Corporate-centric events like CFO Roundtable, Women in Leadership series activities, where we invite women leaders from the industry to talk about the challenges, issues, concerns, and how they overcome that and help the women leaders or other women finance or non-finance professionals to grow in their corporate ladder. We engage people with different activities, again, in the corporate sector. member-centric events. This is one of the pictures from our 100-year celebration in India, which happened in 2019 September. Unfortunately, 2020 March onwards, last 2 years, no live events. We are all eagerly waiting. All chapters are asking, can we start the live activities right now? So we're all eagerly waiting for that. But otherwise, regularly our chapters do different events to help our members to grow. So I think before next, I think I would like to get Sabia, or I think I'd like to invite Mike instead of now getting one more person. So Mike, over to you. You comes with, and you are again a CMA certified, and again you are into content development. You are attached to Becker for such a long time. Sorry, as we are working with multiple publishers, and you helped many people. So maybe your insights to the people who are attending will be an added advantage. Michael, over to you.
Thank you, and good morning from over on the other side of the world. I figured to start with, I try to answer a couple of the questions that were posed to the panelists. One is, what do I see happening in the next 50 years? I have trouble figuring out what's going to happen in the next 50 hours in my life. But what I will say is, if you look at where we've been, where we are, there is one constant. There's a lot of change, but there is one constant, and that's passionate, driven people. The IMA is where it is today and is going where it's going today because of driven people. And if there's one thing that I think this profession will continue to attract and will allow it to continue to stay top of mind relevant and continue to develop and evolve skills, that's it. So I think that's its strength, has been and shall be. Another question was posed is, and I'll kind of weave them together, is why did you or how did you come about getting your CMA, and do you see benefits in having more than one credential? For me, I started as a CPA, a US CPA, but that's really a product of what most of the folks going to university with me did. Most of us went into public accounting. That was the overwhelming majority. And if you went into public accounting, it was just understood that part of that experience was earning your CPA. Well, okay. And certainly look back on that and say it was a good investment. It certainly helped me to develop. It has absolutely helped my career along in ways I couldn't have imagined. So what drove me then later in my career to gain my CMA? I guess I have a little bit of an interesting perspective because I'm lucky. I get to talk to corporations, I talk to firms, but arguably most important, I get to talk to students. I get to talk to the next generation all the time, and I listen. I get to listen to what they're thinking about and what's top of their mind. And over the last several years, more and more, I have students asking me, well, should I do CPA or CMA? Or should I do both? I've heard I can do the CMA while I'm still in school. That seems like a good idea. You know, Fennel, you mentioned that that's kind of standard. It's becoming more standard here in the US as well, where students are seeing it as a wonderful opportunity to kind of get a jump start on kind of setting up their career credential trajectory. And so for me, I went, I'm hearing this more and more. And I also looked ahead and I said, I imagine Becker's listening too. I imagine they're going to be investing in CMA because they see that as a growth market. And I want to be positioned so that I can be an expert in that area. I want to be able to teach this course because that's my passion. And so that's what drove me to get my CMA in large part. I'm glad I did. Now I get to serve as a national instructor for Becker, not just in our CPA review, but our CMA review as well. But I want to share some other thoughts. Let me go ahead and turn on my screen share lest I forget later. So I've often framed the question that I hope is on your mind is 3 parts, right? And you have to answer yes to the first question before we even talk about the second, and yes to the second before we talk about the third. So I'm going to follow that order here. Our panelists today have already done an amazing job, frankly, better than I could have imagined for myself. I couldn't have done as good a job, which is why CMA? I think my advice is very simple. Do it. The opportunities, the benefits, really as an investment in your career, to me, it's an easy decision to make. And I hope that from the answers you've heard, the opportunities, the doors that the credential opens, it is a worthy investment of your time and energy. So if you say yes to that, then the second question becomes, well, why do I need someone like VGLD, Becker, why are you even, why do companies like you, why do I need you? What's the purpose in that? And it really starts with the depth and breadth of content. And Fennel also mentioned kind of the level of skill that you have to demonstrate. It goes beyond just, I know it, I can parrot back a list of information. It's, do you truly understand it? Because that's what the profession demands, is that you can't just go through your job and say, oh, I know, I can list out the things for you. No, you have to be able to synthesize information and communicate it effectively. So that's why there are review course providers, because we recognize this is more than just kind of simple memorization of knowledge. It goes well beyond that. So let me talk just a little bit about the exam and the process. Fennel talked about this a little bit, so I'm going to try to add a couple of points. But before I do that, I realize that when I had the privilege, as you say, wonderful things that happened in 2019, like the 100th anniversary, I imagine the IMA probably said, glad it wasn't 2020 was our 100th birthday, or that wouldn't have worked out nearly as well. For me, I got to visit India in 2019. Thankfully, I got that privilege. And I recognized my geography skills are terrible. That I was, when I was told, oh, here are all the cities you'll be visiting, I said, where's a map? And trying to understand where exactly I'd be going. So I figure, as I say, here I am over in the United States, I don't want to assume that you know where I am. So I thought, why not give you an illustration? So there's the Earth. That's me over here in North Carolina. So as I say, it's about now about 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. By the way, I mentioned driven people. I suspect that Fennel and Vinod didn't have to sell very hard to any of us when they said, hey, would you like to come on and talk on a Saturday? Oh, well, you're going to be talking about the CMA and the benefits to your career. Oh, sure, I'm there. You bet. Absolutely. So it's an easy decision to make for us too. One thing I do always empower is I want you to be able to do your own homework and follow up. So there's two wonderful resources that the IMA makes available to you, and they're PDFs. You can download them, keep them on your desktop, that can help you understand the process of becoming a CMA. One of those is the Cma Handbook, which is really a top to bottom guide of the process, all the different requirements, all the steps along the way. So this is really a good kind of guidebook for you. And I'm going to recap some of the things that Fennel mentioned in terms of eligibility. I love the fact that you start by being a member of the IMA, and he's spot on that there are benefits that you will get from that, completely separate from pursuing your CMA, that will help you both in terms of professional development, professional networking, and the like. Then you pay a fee to say, I'm in, I'm going after my CMA. And then you have to meet two different qualifications. One is education, one is experience. Now, the education requirement, I did a little bit of my own digging before this presentation. So, of course, one road is get your bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university. But the IMA, as was, I think, Fennel, you articulated that we don't have reciprocity, but we certainly understand and work with other credentials and kind of understanding what that brings to the table. So there are 3 professional certifications that you see there that also can help you meet that educational requirement. So if you already have, say, your CA, that gives you that boost into the process. For the experience, basically, as long as you're working in the field for 2 continuous years, that's going to take care of that requirement. And you have to do that within 7 years of passing the exam. So that does give you a fair bit of flexibility in terms of the order in which you complete these requirements. And then there is the small matter of the exam, which, as was mentioned, is 2 parts. And you have to comply with one of the most important facets of the accounting profession, ethics. So here's kind of a visual illustration. If you said, well, when I sit down, Mike, and get ready to take my CMA exam, part 1 or part 2, what's that look like? Well, we'll start with how long it is. It is a 4-hour exam, or at least you have a maximum of 4 hours to spend, but it is a 2-stage exam. The first stage is all multiple choice. You'll face off against 100 multiple choice questions, and the examiners will give you a maximum of 3 hours to complete those multiple choice questions. Now, the nice thing is any time left over, you carry into the second stage of the exam. So it's just, you get maximum 3 hours for this part, you get a maximum of 4 hours for the whole thing. In terms of points and where your score is coming from, it's driven in large portion by the multiple choice. That's 3/4 of your final grade. And then the exam is going to make a check. When you say, I'm done, you finish with a multiple choice, the computer will do a basic analysis and say, well, did you get at least half of them right? If you don't, your exam ends there. But assuming you at least get half of them correct, you get to advance to the second stage of the exam, which are essays. And these are multi-part questions, and they can both include calculations where you have to kind of write out in a text box, here's how I compute this particular statistic or compute this ratio. And it typically includes more qualitative analysis. Explain this, or what does this term mean, or what's the importance of this in this scenario. So each of those is roughly a 30-minute multi-part problem, and you'll face off against 2 of those, and that's going to round out the other 25% of your score. Now, Fennel mentioned that this is not given year-round. They work in a basic system of testing windows. Easy way to remember it is it's 2 on, 2 off. So as we start the calendar, January and February, tests are given all over the planet. March and April, they're not. And then we'll do that again in May and June. So as we sit here today, we are in the middle of a non-testing period. And you'll notice there are dates, and again, this is all in the candidate handbook as far as when the exam window starts. And if you want to take an exam in that window, what is the latest date you can register to sit in that window? Now, the other document that is valuable, and I think worth keeping your fingers on, is what's called the learning outcome statements. This effectively is the blueprint of the CMA exam. It defines what can be tested on that exam, and it incorporates the 12 areas that Fennel mentioned. So I'm going to show you a little bit more than just the list here. I'm going to show you kind of the weighting and a little bit of what exactly is contained within those content areas. So first is external financial reporting decisions. You can see here, this covers a lot of the dyed in the wool when you think of financial accounting versus managerial accounting. Or a lot of folks ask me, hey, is there overlap between the CPA and CMA exams? This is one area, because this is the dyed in the wool kind of external financial reporting, and you can see the list there. That's about 15%. Then we move into what I would construe as more traditional managerial and cost accounting content. So here 20% is planning, budgeting, and forecasting. You can see it includes forecasting techniques, different ways of budgeting, and the like. Another 20% capitalizing on performance management. And so this is dealing with, well, how do we identify a segment or a responsibility center? Is it a cost center? Is it a profit center? What are the ways that we can measure that? 15% on kind of nuts and bolts cost management. This is everything from some of the key kind of strategies, business process improvement strategies, as well as some of the more technical aspects of cost allocations and the like. Another 15% on internal control. It's interesting to see that this has not only been made important on the CMA exam and remains so, I've also seen this gain traction as an area of growing importance on the CPA exam as well. This incorporates the importance of corporate governance, which is a critical piece to our profession, and I think our profession's future. And then lastly, and the newest as far as the defined section of the exam, although I would imagine it comes as no surprise, is technology and analytics, which I think is now more and more going to be even woven into the entire fabric of the exam, just as it's being woven into the fabric of our profession. Now, part 2, we get into financial statement analysis. So that's good old-fashioned ratio analysis and comparability, profitability analysis, and the like. That's about 20%. Corporate finance, another 20%. That includes issues like working capital management, international finance, different issues around working capital, and so forth. The biggest single piece on either part is decision analysis, but I think that really, again, should be no surprise, right? The idea that our value is helping inform and helping to make good decisions. Ultimately, that's how I define a successful accountant, is the ability to inform good decisions. And so here, thinking about pricing decisions, cost, volume, profit analysis, trying to decide strategically, is this a product we want to keep pursuing? Is it one that we should discontinue? Things of that nature. Another 10% is focused on risk, specifically risk management from a corporate or enterprise level. Another 10% on investment decisions. That includes, should we buy or lease it? Should we, what sort of capital budgeting method should we use? And then finally, hopefully you've been looking at this going, he hasn't mentioned ethics, and that rounds out as a critical piece of the puzzle, including business ethics in general, the IMA's own statement of ethical professional practice, and some of the fraud and fraud risk considerations as well. So it does cover a wide span, but I think it also is a great demonstration of the breadth of what CMA stands for, right? when folks see that those three letters sitting beside your name, they know, oh, you have a demonstrated expertise in all of this. You've proven that expertise. And so you're walking in the door without even saying anything with that already in front of you. Yeah, I have proven, I know a lot of information. I know a lot of, and I can present a lot of value in all of these areas. And that's part of why companies want to hire CMAs, is because they understand that going in. But I want to go ahead and put up some contact information, but this is also our chance for the remaining time that we have to open the floor to questions. So Sabia or Vinod, I will turn it back over to whichever of you will handle Q&A.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. I think we have had a very valuable information shared by all our speakers today so far. And I just wanted to add on the offerings which are being made by VG Learnings for the course. So briefly to explain it, we are offering about 150 plus hours of online live coaching on weekends. And the recorded sessions of each of these live classes are also provided. We do assist all our students, with the IMA registrations, and whenever the IMA is offering us any kind of discounts, for the students, they would be assisted and informed with that. And we do provide 100% placement assistance once they have qualified. So I would request anybody who is interested for more details to contact us. Our details of VG Learnings is on the screen. You could make note. We'll be glad to assist you. And I think we have come close to the end. I just have a couple of questions which I see here, which I'd like to bring it up. What would be the average pay scale for a qualified CA after doing a US CMA? Anybody who could answer that?
I think, can we cancel the screen? I think that help us, all of us, to come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting question. More than me, I think Gopal or Sunil might be able to give something, but it's also on the same way. We cannot say what is like a fee of after CA plus CMA. So it also depends on what you grade, what profile you work, which on industry you work, how many years you are in the industry. So there are multiple factors matters to you. But I think if Gopal or Sunil can give us something like a tentative, it will be great.
Gopal, please go ahead. You are
Yeah, so
please.
as Fanil has already answered, so there is no easy answer to this, that okay, this would be the salary, starting salary, or this would be the final payout. So it depends on various factors, which includes your experience, which includes the kind of industry you are in, which includes the kind of profile you are moving in. So on various other factors, it is impacted by. But what I would say is, like, whatever you are earning as a qualified chartered accountant, definitely CMA will give you an edge, and you can earn more than that.
Thank you, Gopal and Sunil.
I see there's another question, that does the US CMA certification help us in getting a job in the US? So I think Michael can take that question.
Yeah, I'll start, and then if anyone else wants to add on. I think there's been several folks who made the point of multinationals. I think that the lines kind of dividing nations, they're not what they used to be. I found that when I visited India, how many US companies had established a physical presence in India, and I've seen the reverse. So yeah, I think again, it really boils down to the fact that the CMA is a global credential. It's recognized globally. So regardless of where you take it and wherever you might look to gain a job, that's going to get recognized. And so that's going to give you at least some advantage. But then it's combined with, well, what is the job you're pursuing? And what is the relevance of the CMA to that specific job is going to obviously matter in terms of the impact you can have. But I'll defer to the rest of the panel if they have any insights from their side.
Thank you, Michael. That's a right answer. Yeah. I think what you said is absolutely right. So it's a global certification, well accepted across the globe. Though, like we are, as a part of, we are not into placements. Like from an IMA perspective, we are not into placements, even though we work very closely with corporates, we are not into visa processing. So definitely all these you need to take care. But as a certification, it's a global certification, well recognized across the globe. I think Sunil was trying to add something here. Please, over to you.
I just wanted to add two things. One is this qualification opens for you the windows of opportunity. That's definitely for sure. Other thing, from my experience, I lived in 15 years abroad. I lived in Singapore, Middle East, South Africa. When I was working in Singapore, I used to hire the CMAs, the CMA qualified. The advantage being that each country has got its own professional qualification, like CA in India or CPA in USA or whatever, ACCA, whatever you name. But if you want to bring a standardization across the board, I don't want to differentiate. I just want a internationally qualified finance professional. So I went for IMA or CMA qualified. I was not saying I want American CPA or I want Australian CPA or Indian CPA. Just go for a CMA. But CMA is at par internationally, globally, and I recruited many people like that, and it helped me a lot. So it opens an opportunity for you, definitely. Yeah, thanks.
I see another question, which is addressing to the age. That I'm 45 and 44. So I don't think personally there is a restriction unless the panelists would like to comment.
No, that's, I think, something which I mentioned. In India, you might see around 66% of our candidates are students. But if you move out of India, 85% of our candidates across the globe are working professionals. And we have seen many professionals who are in this, like in different ages, like even some of them are in the retirement ages. They actually came and taken up CMA, which helped them to move towards consulting and other areas. So there is no age barrier with IMA. Anyone can get into CMA certification, and I'm sure that will add additional value, additional knowledge and skills in your career ladder.
In fact, Fennel, many people who are joining VG Learning or CMA, they are professionals.
Oh, great. Thank you. I know that's one thing which I noticed, like almost 80% of your candidates are, the working professionals who are joined.
Just to add, Anil, on a little bit lighter side, there is a concept of neuroplasticity in psychology. The previous research on neuroplasticity used to say that our brain stops learning up to age and then you can't learn. That was the original research. 20 years ago, or whatever, 15, 20 years ago, they came out with a new research, which is proven by psychologists, saying that neuroplasticity is a concept where your brain can keep on learning whenever, as long as you want. There is no limit. Your brain never stops learning. Like your grandfather or my grandfather or someone who is 80 years of age, they learn how to use the mobile phone within 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Same, I'm saying, please come and do CMA at the age of 70, 65, 45. Neuroplasticity is open-ended. You can learn anything at any point. Thank you.
Another quick question, which is that does the CMA course covers taxation and auditing?
No. That's the easy answer there. No.
No.
If you were asking me about the US CPA and I think a lot of comparable credentials, the answer to that is yes, but no, it's not. As I said, the 12 disciplines that I just covered, that's the length and breadth of the CMA exam.
I think we are coming close to the end of the session, and I would like to conclude by thanking all our panelists.
I think there is one more last question: job opportunities for CMAs in India currently. I think I would like to add a few points here. As mentioned, even though we are not into placements, but we have seen many organizations, or we work very closely with many corporates, and especially for not only from recruitment angle, we work with them in upskilling their employees, resource areas. So something which I noticed here in India, especially for CMAs, we never see actually an experienced CMAs actually come back to us saying that we need a job or we need a job shift. Can you help us? On the same time, yeah, I agree. We have a lot of, like as mentioned, almost 66% of our candidates are students who completed graduation or doing graduation and CMA, or after or along with post-graduation, they're doing it. They reach out to us and say, we are looking at for job opportunities. Definitely our providers doing a great job in supporting them. And apart from that, I may work with good number of corporates, and many corporates reach out to us. And whenever these opportunities comes to us, we share that information. Even today, I actually shared something with providers with regards to Wipro. So every year we have seen, every month we have seen many companies now, more and more companies reaching out to us, especially for CMA. So there are good number of opportunities in the market for CMAs.
Totally agreed. Yeah, we have been seeing that coming from a lot of companies approaching institutes like ours. And definitely from IMA, we have been getting good response when it comes to placements and vacancies. So I think nobody has to fear getting jobs and getting placed once they have completed this certification. And I think a lot of valuable information has been provided today. So it should be giving them a lot of confidence to go ahead with the program. Anybody else would like to conclude?
I'd like to thank the panelist, Gopal. I think, Gopal, your one line would become a motto for CMA, IMA, that the CMA is a co-pilot with the pilot being the CEO.
Thank you. And this is what is now essentially moving to the core, and mostly now. Earlier, I mean, just want to share that earlier finance was something which was disconnected from business, and now finance is the core. Finance is taking decisions. Finance is defining the strategies. So it's the co-pilot job, which is supporting CEO in taking the business to the next level.
Thank you very much, Gopal. And Sunil sir, thank you very much when you said that what industry need is a quality professional. They don't need the quantity. I think this is what today is happening. I know what you were trying to say, so you didn't say it in the open words, but everyone understands that we have a lot of professionals in the market, but industry need good professionals or quality professionals. And this is what many of the courses are lacking. They are simply imparting the theoretical education, not the practical one. So I said, sir, thank you very much for guiding us in this.
My pleasure. My pleasure meeting. Thank you very much.
Michael, thank you very much for outlining the entire program of CMA.
Sure.
And of course,
Pleasure.
Venan, thank you very much for arranging the first webinar of VGLD. So thank you very much. And thank you all the participants for our patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I-
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
I also
everybody.
take this
Thank you.
opportunity to thank VG Learning, Becker, Assis. I can see Assis also part of attendees list. I can see him, and Sunil, Gopal, all for your support. Definitely, I'm looking at under Vinodji's direction. We are going to grow much higher with VG Learning, and we would like to see many more CMAs passing out from your institute. And all the best wishes. Looking forward.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.